All right, here we go. 4th and 18 for the Tigers. Here's your ball game. Nick Marshall stands in, steps up, going to throw downfield, just a home run ball, and it is tipped up. And Lewis got it on the deflection. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score. Touchdown Auburn. Touchdown Auburn. A miracle in Jordan Hare. A miracle in Jordan Hare. 73 yards, and the Tigers with 25 seconds to go. Lead 43 to 38. He's over there. 3 wide outs at the top of the picture. Stewart with time. Lets it go. He's got 3 people down there. The ball's up in the air. Caught. Touchdown. Caught by Westbrook for a touchdown. Incredible. Here's Stock ready. Has the ball. Rolls to the right, looking downfield, sets up and heaves it towards the right side of the end zone. It's going to be jump ball, into the air. Oh! It's caught! Touchdown! The Wildcats win! Caught the deflected pass! Unbelievable! Hewitt going to go back to throw the ball. Sets up, looks, throws toward the corner of the end zone. It is intercepted! Intercepted! The next down the ball! 7 to 35 to 40. Kenny Wheaton going to score! Kenny Wheaton is going to score! 20! Touchdown! Touchdown! Kenny Wheaton on the interception! There we go. Here's your ball game, folks, as Rudy takes the snap. He drops straight back, has some time. Now he scrambles away from one hit. Looks, unclutch a deep one for the end zone. Phelan is down there. Oh, he got it! He got it! He got it! Touchdown! 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 Boston College! He did it! He did it! Flutie did it! He got Phelan in the end zone! Touchdown! It has Hale, Flutie, and Kenny Wheaton in it. You're doing something good. And I think we have something special here with the AB College Football Show. Good evening, everybody. I'm Brian Snow. The B part, that's Artie Sorts. The A part, Artie, I love you. Thanks, man. you got to turn your mic on, bud. You're muted. Your mic's muted.
How about that? Is that better?
There you go. There we got him.
Oh, as I said, you know what? It's very few times in my life I've been muted, Snowman.
I can say the same thing, being in broadcasting for 27 years. I'm Brian. That's Artie. This is the AB College Football Show. And I'll tell you what, when Artie gave me this idea, we're just sitting here running with it. And I love it. I love talking college football with you each week, my man.
Well, what do you think about this Georgia Tech opening? Do you think Deion Sanders is the perfect pick? I mean, he's an Atlanta guy. He has great. I mean, you know, it's prime. He can do it all. He brings a lot of things to the forefront. I know he wants the Florida State job.
He wants the Florida State job is one he's pining for because he's an alumnus.
I understand that, but you know what? If he can prove that he's the real deal with the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech, I think he can get any job he wants in college football. Well, and that's what I'm trying to say to you.
Well, he's going to prove it at Jackson State. He's already got some measures in place at Jackson State, so that should be proof there. But you know why
he got 3 of the top 300 athletes in the country to come play there, and that says a whole lot.
But you know why they won't give him the position? Because he's at a black school. Because he is at
great football. Nobody wants. You don't want to play Jackson State this weekend.
Nope, you don't. you don't.
Seriously, when I say that, that'd be like going into the Sun Belt Conference now with App State and all these schools. They're ready to knock people off.
They're ready to knock people off.
What I love about college football, you know, aside from the top 3 teams in the country, which are Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State, that next 7, they're all getting better every week.
That they
North Carolina States, your Clemsons, you know, your Oklahoma State, your USCs, your Ole Miss, and how about NC State? Dave Doran's got it going on with the Wolfpack.
How about North Carolina State?
I mean, that Devin Leary, they actually have 13 returning defensive starters. Everybody laughs when I say that. But they had 2 guys get hurt early, So they had basically 13 guys that played the whole season. So I mean, that's a
Yep.
great storyline. I'm excited. I know you're excited about it. It's just been
I
a great
am.
college football year.
It's been a wonderful year, and of course, the team sitting on top, the Georgia Bulldogs, are poised to defend their national championship. And I'll tell you something about these dogs. Everybody's talking about, oh, they missed it. They missed a lot. They don't need to be ranked in the top 3. The narratives I heard is that Alabama won the recruiting war, which they didn't, quite honestly, and they deserve to be the number 1 team. And this is preseason. Yeah, you prove your ranking on the field. And I take a suggestion from my friend Chris Dietz is that you don't come out with a poll until like week 4 or 5 when teams are into their season and conference season begins. I will say this, and I will say it aloud. After the whooping that Georgia laid on Oregon in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, if there was ever a team that deserved to be number 1 preseason and all the way through the season, it's Georgia.
I agree. Hey, what Kirby Smart has been able to accomplish by using the actual blueprints from Lord Saban has been amazing to me. I mean, he took a program, and Mark Richt had good teams. Don't get me wrong. They were right there.
Yes.
They had some trouble in big games. I don't think they were physically, as gifted as the Alabama teams. But he realized that if you go get the best defensive players, and let me tell you something, I still don't think they've given up 4 touchdowns this year. And I believe they're 3-0, ranked number 1. So that defense is for real. And they had 5 first-round draft picks drafted last year in the National Football League. So how good is that 22 deep defense for the Dogs? Hey, one of the guys that coached there is using the same gig at Arkansas, Sam Pittman. Everybody starts to look around. Then you look at, Josh Heupel at Tennessee, Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Hey, the SEC is the cream of the crop in college football, and there are other good teams. ACC's got some good teams. We got a great one this week in the matchup down there. But, bottom line is your Georgia Bulldogs, they're strong. Alabama's strong. We're going to see what Alabama's all about because they're heading into a real tough place, Razorback Stadium, in Fayetteville, Arkansas, to play against a very, very underrated Arkansas football team.
Very underrated.
I'm looking forward to see how that one's going to come out. But all in all, hey, we kick it off Friday night. We got the Pac-12, big one. Who would have thought the Washington Huskies and Coach Kalen DeBoer would be where they are? I mean, they were I think they won 2 games last year, but they worked that portal. I looked at the record that Kalen DeBoer has in the last 6 years while he's been at Fresno State. How about 76-9?
76-9. 76-9. And he's brought it to Washington. He has brought it to Washington. My friend's muted again. I think he pushed the button. And Artie, you muted again. I don't know what happened. Well, while Artie fixes his microphone, there is one thing that I do want to talk about in our storylines, and that's this. And that's why Notre Dame will not join a conference. I think it's because they have the richest deal in television, and they've had the richest deal in television since 1990. And why do I mention 1990? That's when Notre Dame got the deal from NBC to exclusively air their games. And since Notre Dame has exclusively been airing on NBC, the money's just been coming in hand over fist. Now, they'll have a handful of games where they will be on ESPN or CBS or ABC or whatever. But NBC is has been their cash cow since 1990. And Deets and I talked about it. Still don't have you, Artie. Deets and I have talked about it. And that is we got you now. I heard you for a moment.
Am I back?
There you go. We got you.
Thank you.
We got you. We got
All
you.
right. You know what? That contract that they did with NBC really should have paid a lot bigger dividends than it has, Snowman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from 1990 to now, you go back to Lou Holtz, who won the title, I believe, in 89. That's 32
1989.
years.
Yep.
32 years of national television exposure. Now, they've had some great teams. They've played for the title a bunch of times. And a lot of people say, hey, they've got academic requirements that cause problems. Well, yeah, of course they do. So does Stanford. So do a lot of universities.
So does Northwestern.
Right.
You want to look at quarter system schools. We got two right there, Stanford and Northwestern.
Yeah, exactly. And Cal isn't a real easy school to graduate from either.
No.
So I mean, academics are part of the program. And that's why I always respect coaches like David Shaw. What a job he did for the decade that they were doing what they did at Stanford. I mean, the Cardinals were just roaring. The great teams, they had the McCaffrey's Rose Bowl performance. People are going to look back someday, and they're just going to go, "Holy,
was crazy!" Yeah,
and then of course last year the Ohio State wide receiver had one of those games too in the Rose Bowl, where everything kind of comes together, and it's like, are you kidding me?
David Smith and Jigba, and
that was incredible.
Man, that was 300 yards receiving in a Rose Bowl game. And all I can think of is Vince Young. And the two Rose Bowls he put together. He put together two great Rose Bowls. Okay.
No doubt about it.
So that deal that Notre Dame worked with NBC, it paid him a lot of money. It got him a lot of exposure, but the championships haven't rolled in since Lou Holtz did the deed on January 1st, 1989 in Tempe, Arizona to cap off the 88 season.
Yeah. I mean,
and then after Raheem Ismail single-handedly beat Michigan on a great game on ABC called by the late, great Keith Jackson in 1989, you thought, okay, they're going to ride right to the Rose Bowl. And then Colorado showed up.
And that
Darian Hagan had a bunch.
That CU team with Coach McCartney, I was actually doing stuff on the radio at KOA in Denver. That was a great run they had there. But they recruited the entire nation, Snowman.
They did.
They used the actual blueprint from USC, from Oklahoma, from Nebraska, the old tried and true. We're going to go after the top 75 kids in the country and try to drag home 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah,
and they did. And once they got the extra down, against Missouri, which really
1990.
propelled them to
1990.
And you had Slash, and what a group of athletes, a group of linebackers that all played in the NFL for 4 or 5 years there.
I want to show the play that made that 89 Colorado season. Let's go back to November 1989. The opponent was the Nebraska Cornhuskers. CBS had the call with Jim Nantz and Pat Hayden. Nebraska got an early lead 7-0, and then Darian Hagan did this.
Running the option on first down. Hagan has it. He has room. He's got one man to beat. Now he pitches to Flanagan, and he may take it all the way. Flanagan's in for the touchdown.
You tell me how a quarterback pitches the ball 70 yards downfield and just has that feeling. That's when the option was so popular with especially schools in the Big 8, Nebraska, Colorado, Oklahoma, at times Missouri. That's when the Big 8 ran the option and ran it to death.
Darian Hagan ran 4.27. Okay?
Yes,
he had moves. He played at Banning High School in Southern California. Probably one of the top recruited players ever. And I mean, when he rode that fullback down in the old option, and that defensive end committed, he either pitched it or kept it. And it was like, you better hope he pitches it. Because once he turns in, The safety has to take a perfect angle, and if he's not used to 4.23 speed, where do you practice against that?
You don't.
It's like,
You don't.
Katie bar the door. The only thing faster than him was Ralphie coming out of the down the sideline.
And Ralphie had 2 extra legs and had people guiding him down the sideline.
And dragging 10 guys on their chins.
And dragging 10 yes, exactly. And JJ Flanagan, who made the rest of that play. I thought Hagan was going to be able to take it all the way, but then he saw the Nebraska defender coming. Flanagan's flying down the sideline, but you had to stay behind him per rule. You have to stay behind him if you're running in the option. You got to stay a couple yards behind him. Flanagan was flying down the sideline. Flanagan was flying down the sideline.
And you just hit on what McCartney developed to get where they got. Guys like Reuben Vaughn, who was a great defensive end, he ran a 4.4. Okay, they had team speed. It's the only way you were going to beat the power of Oklahoma and the power of Nebraska in the old Big 8. So I mean,
bring back the Big 8 conference, please.
I love it.
Please bring back the Big 8.
It wasn't easy going to play Missouri. I played against Kellen Winslow, Joe Pisarcik. I mean, those guys.
And it was an
SC team.
And it was an AstroTurf field at Farrell Field.
Oh yeah. I played before they even invented AstroTurf, so I mean.
Oh man.
I was like Joe Don Looney. If I couldn't smoke it, I didn't want to play on it.
Right. Oh man, that's Artie Swords, Brian Snow here in the midst of the AB College Football Show. And now before we get to our favorite part, let's take a quick pause. And when we come back, we will have our picks. So folks, get your picks ready because Artie and I are going to pick some great games. He asked me to pick 5. I actually picked 6 of them. So we'll see how. Yeah, I put a bonus pick.
That way we get a chance to be 500.
Exactly. It'll either be 0-6 or 3-3 or whatever. Because college football can change your pick, can make you change your picks in a hurry, can't they? Make you change your picks in a hurry.
My great uncle Gigi, before we go on break here, and I know it's a hard one, but he used to always say, when you're going bad, when you make your picks bet the other way and go 5-0.
That is so true. We'll pause for 2 minutes and we come back. We'll make our picks. This is the AB College Football Show live on YouTube and the SDM Sports Radio Network.
Hey, everybody, Snowman here. I have a way for you to support our humble little morning show and support your favorite team and or player at the same time. All you have to do is go to officialsitmorn.com/fanatics. That's right, officialsitmorn.com/fanatics. With the NFL on the way, as well as Major League Baseball heading into its playoff stage, you can support your favorite player and or team, and you can also support this morning show, as Fanatics is an affiliate sponsor of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. Just head on over to officialsitmorn.com/fanatics and you can support your favorite team and or player. Fanatics, where sports fans shop. And when you go there, tell them Snowman sent you. Thanks.
We're back, and it's time for the best part of the show, and that's us making our picks for this week. And as you mentioned, everything kicks off Friday night at the Rose Bowl, 10:30 Eastern time kickoff on ESPN, as we have Washington and UCLA. Washington's favored by 3.5. The over-under is 66. And I'm doing the same thing Art's doing. I'm going to write my picks down to see how I do. Who'd have thunk it that in the Pac-10, Washington and UCLA would be butting heads just like they did back in 89, 90, 91, and 92, and 93, dare I say it, for the Pac-10 lead. So,
hey, what's really been funny? What's really been funny is UCLA actually had a very tough scare last week. And,
yes.
So they got a little pressure on them, and they actually succeeded just like SC did. But this game is number 17 Washington cruising down Coast Highway, heading to number 25 UCLA. You got a really, really a really sharp, tough Huskies ball club playing a UCLA team that hasn't been proven, but UCLA has DTR. They've got a good running back in Charbonnet. Chip Kelly seems to have turned the corner with the program. Scheduling helps a little bit with the cupcakes they had. But I look at it as Washington is 4-0, and Washington beat a good Michigan State team. I don't know how good they are, but they really did a good job in that one. You know, I look at the line. I think it's going to end up at 3 eventually, but I would have to say I might take Washington only because this coach, like we talked about earlier, 76-9 over the last 6 years. Yeah. His offense averages 500 yards. I know they're for real. I'm going to go 38-28 UW, the Huskies.
I'm going with Washington myself. I'm going to take the points at 3.5, and I'm going to go slightly under. Even though DTR's there, Michael Penix Jr. is the quarterback of the Washington Huskies. He's doing a whale of a job at UW.
He looks like he looked 2 years ago.
Yes, before all the injuries hit.
I think this relationship between DeBoer and Penix, because I love the lefty. This kid beat Penn State. He beat Ohio State. He had some really magic going on in the Big Ten before he transferred, and he looks fantastic again.
He does. So I'm going Washington. I'm going to take the points, and I'm going to go under, slightly under, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does go over with these two teams and how much they put points on the board. Let's go to Florida State.
Snowman. Let me ask you a question before we go on. How many? What over and under 35,000 at the Rose Bowl?
Over. I'll go over because half of Washington will make the trip.
Okay, cool.
The entire city, the entire city of Seattle will make the trip, and half of the state of Washington will make the trip. Speaking of trips, let's go to Doak Campbell Stadium. Florida State hosting Wake Forest. Florida State favored by 7. The over-under is 64. And you know something? My friend Connor O'Neill will be so happy when I say the following sentences. I'm going with the upset in Wake Forest. I'm going to take the points, and I'm going to go over. I'm going over the 64. Sam Hartman.
We got a shootout at Bobby Bowden Field.
Exactly. At Bobby Bowden Stadium. You know what? I trust Sam Hartman on the road. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with Wake Forest. I'm calling for the upset at Florida State.
ABC Sports, 3:30 Saturday.
Yep.
Wake Forest, Demon Deacons, Florida State University Seminoles. Wake Forest coming off a very, very impressive performance against Clemson last week. I thought they had it. I really did.
I did too. I thought they were going to pull the upset.
Their defense is much maligned. I got to tell you, they actually played hard, good football last week.
They did.
I'm going to look at this game. I got to go against you on this one, Snowman. I just think Florida State has too much at home. The chop is going to be out. I'm going to go 42-28, Florida State. And the difference is going to be the Florida State defense. That's what I say. I don't know what 42 and 28 add up to. I went
70.
to USC. Oh, it's 70. So I'm taking the over.
You're going over also. We're both going with the over.
Mike Norvell so far this year.
Yeah.
They're 4-0 against the spread. Wake Forest is 3-1 against the spread. So but like I said, this could be the exact score, but the other way around. Because Sam Martin's for real. He can spin.
Can he ever? Let's go to Arkansas. We talked about this. Second-ranked Alabama going to Fayetteville and Razorback Stadium to play the Arkansas Razorbacks. 3:30 on CBS. Brad Nessler will have the call along with Gary Danielson. Alabama favored by 17.5, and the over-under is 61. I was so tempted to go with the upset in this game, but I can't. I'm going with Alabama, but I'm going to take the points because I expect Arkansas to cover that 17.5, and I'm going to go over on this game. I'm gonna go over because some reason when Alabama and Arkansas get together, fireworks happen. I'll trust it and I'll go over.
Well, you got number 2 against number 19. The key to this game may come down to Barry Odom, the old head coach at the University of Missouri, who's the defensive coordinator for the Razorbacks. Can he come up with a plan to quell Bill O'Brien's offense and Young at quarterback? That's going to be the key. If they can keep the score down, which I don't think they can do, I look at the numbers and it's 17 and a half. That the bullet is tough here.
Yeah.
It's a very tough bullet.
Yeah, it is.
But, I mean, if I had to look at it right now, it's either 45-24 Alabama or 48-24 Alabama. Lord Saban's awfully tough.
Yeah, he is. He is.
And I give him a 20%, a 1 in 5 shot at the upset for the Razorbacks.
Okay.
I really do.
All right.
I think they have that kind of talent. Plus, they got that linebacker. You know what his name is?
I don't offhand. Oh,
Bumper
wow.
Pool. Is that the coolest name for a linebacker ever?
That is a great name for a linebacker. That is a wonderful name for a linebacker.
Led the nation in tackles last year. And, hey, the whole key to this game is if the Arkansas fans show up and they can keep it close for a couple of quarters to halftime, then anything goes there.
Yeah,
but I'm going to go 48-24, Crimson Tide.
That wouldn't surprise me. That would not surprise me at all. Let's go to Baylor. Here's my wild card game. Saturday, 3:30 on Fox. I believe it's Gus Johnson with the call at McLean Stadium along the Brazos River. Baylor favored by 2. Over-under is 56. Now, this is where I want blood. I'm going with Baylor. I'm going to lay the points, and I'm going over. The only game I went under was Washington UCLA. I'm going over because Baylor does some wicked stuff at home in terms of scoring points. Anybody remember the TCU game from 2015 where they put up 24 in the fourth quarter to come all the way back from 21 down and win that game? Oklahoma State has an offense. Baylor has a better one. Going with the home team. I'm going to lay the points, and I'm going over.
Okay. I look at that, and I see it very simply this way. Spencer Sanders is a heck of a quarterback. Baylor has the home field advantage. Both teams are prolific. It's going to be Dave Aranda's defense versus the mullet Gundy's offense. For me, I want to see Gus have fun because Gus is my favorite college football announcer. So I'm going 34-30 Cowboys. Okay.
Oh, so you're going with Okie State. You're going with the Pokes.
Going with Okie State. I love that commercial where Baker Mayfield goes, I just can't read his face when they're playing poker in the Heisman house. That guy looks just like Burt Reynolds. Doesn't the mascot for the Cowboys look just like Burt Reynolds?
Yeah, he does. I just can't read his face.
Hey, Baker Mayfield.
Oh man,
he can
Dave
do commercials. Who cares if he ever plays quarterbacks, though, man?
Dave Hunsaker will be on the call for the Oklahoma State Network. How many pistols will he fire? Because that's his signature call when Oklahoma State scores. Pistols firing. How many pistols will fire? We'll find out Saturday afternoon on the banks of the Brazos River.
He's got four shots out of the 6 and a couple of field goals, 34-30.
North Carolina State at Clemson. Clemson coming off of a double overtime loss. Should have been a win. And then you got the wild card at North Carolina State. This is in Death Valley, 7:30 on ABC. Guessing Mark Jones will have the call. Clemson favored by 6.5. The over-under being 39. And as I write down here in my notes to keep track of everything, I'm going with Clemson. I'm sorry, Gary Hahn. I love you at North Carolina State, but I'm going to lay the points, and I'm going over.
Yeah, well, Devin Leary, it's what it comes down to in that defense for the Wolfpack. This is a tough bill to swallow right here. We're going to find out, okay, because, what you have here essentially is you have the number 6 team and the number 11 team. And in my Galaxy Sports poll, we have North Carolina State actually as the 10th team in the country. But, 10th, 11th, whatever. They're a good ball club. Coming off a great year last year. Dave Doran has done a fine job. But after what I saw with Clemson last week, yeah, the Death Valley's not a place where you want to play. And I'll tell you what amazes me is the over and under in this game is really, really low.
Low.
Okay?
It's low.
So my play is this. If I can get 7, I would take North Carolina State and I'd take the over. Okay? But the way it looks right now, I'd have to take Clemson and lay the 6.5 because I think they're going to win by 7. I think it's going to be something like 27-20, 27-17. But I think it's going to be a good football game, but not going to be like last week's Wake Forest Clemson game. I think you're going to see more closer to the vest, better defense, a little more intensity. And so I'm going to go, yeah, you got it right there. I'm going to go Clemson 27-20.
Don Munson will have the call on the Clemson Sports Network, powered by Learfield. And then you got this one. The Kentucky Wildcats and the Ole Miss Rebels. That's a noon kickoff on ESPN. Mississippi is favored by 7. The over-under is 54. Kentucky ranked 10th in the country. Hart told me to pick Mississippi. I said, oh, hell no. I can't do that. I'm going with Kentucky. I'm going to take the 7 points. And once again, I'm gonna go over. I trust this Kentucky offense to make plays.
Well, Will Levis has got all the potential in the world. All the ESPN guys, they're all the quarterback gurus. They're talking about his abilities. Mark Stoops has done a great job with the Kentucky program.
He has.
He's from Northeast Ohio. He's done a great job. Rodriguez is coming back at running back. That's a huge, huge addition for the Wildcats. But you know what? Playing in the Grove has never been easy. Lane Kiffin's got himself a quarterback named Jackson Dart and another good quarterback as well. But they're playing the running game. I mean, this running game with this running back they have is just off the charts. They're running off tackle. They're playing great football. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I'm going to go 27-21 Ole Miss at home on ESPN. Yeah, there we go. 27-20. So I'm taking the under, the Rebs, and what's funny to me is how can the Rebels be favored when they're like ranked 14th and Kentucky's ranked, and Kentucky's ranked 7th.
Well,
that's a real misnomer to me.
Well, they're wanting another shoe to drop when it comes to Kentucky. They've been close before, especially if you remember 2018, they went to the Swamp and drained it, and then they got drained. They're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Our final pick of the night. Oh, that is our final pick of the night. I'm sorry, because that we already did. That's how we led off. If you want to sponsor the show, you can drop an email to SDM Sports Radio Network. I'm sorry, SDM Sports Radio Network or Snow Multimedia at gmail.com. Go to bsnowmultimedia at gmail.com, and that's how you can sponsor the show. Artie, always a pleasure, my friend. Love doing this with you. I can't wait to take this all the way through to the national championship game in January.
Looking forward to it. You're the greatest. I always have fun with you, Snowman, and I look forward to it.
All right. If you want to sponsor the show, get a hold of Artie or myself. We would love to have you as an advertiser on this here program.
It's Galaxy Sports, or Artie Source, ARTIESORCE on Facebook. Let me know. We'll put together a package that'll get your company in front of millions.
Absolutely. I absolutely love doing this show. And we're going to try to, if Galaxy Sports has a radio network, I'd love to put this show on Galaxy Sports as well. We got to find a way to get that done.
All in.
That'll wrap it up for this week. Artie and I will be back for week 6. We'll go over our picks and make some new ones. and we'll have some new storylines. For Artie Swords, this is Brian Snow saying good night and God bless from the AB College Football Show.
All right, here we go. 4th and 18 for the Tigers. Here's your ball game. Nick Marshall stands in, steps up, going to throw downfield, just a home run ball, and it is tipped up. And Lewis got it on the defenseman. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score. Lewis is going to score. Touchdown, Auburn. Touchdown, Auburn. A miracle in Jordan Hare. A miracle in Jordan Hare. 73 yards, and the Tigers with 25 seconds to go. Lead 43 to 38.
It's over there. 3 wide outs at the top of the picture. Stewart with time. Lets it go. He's got 3 people down there. The ball's up in the air. Caught. Touchdown. Caught by Westbrook for a touchdown. Incredible. Here's Stock ready. Has the ball. Rolls to the right, looking downfield, sets up and heaves it towards the right side of the end zone. It's going to be jump ball, hit in the air. Oh! It's caught! Touchdown! The Wildcats win! Caught the deflected pass! Unbelievable! He's going to go back to throw the ball. Sets up, looks, throws toward the corner of the end zone. It is intercepted! Intercepted! They're not down the ball! Down to the 35, the 40. Kenny Wayne is going to score! Kenny Wayne is going to score! 20! Touchdown! Touchdown! Kenny Wayne on the interception! There we go. Here's your ball game, folks, as Rudy takes the snap. He drops straight back, has some time. Now he scrambles away from one hit. Looks, unclutches the deep one for the end zone.